Welcome to Betrayal Stories. In today's video, the message that shattered my marriage came creeping into my life at 2:47 a.m. on a quiet Tuesday morning, one of those nights when the house is silent, peaceful, still, almost pretending nothing in the world could ever go wrong. I wasn't meant to see it. I wasn't meant to wake up. But the universe has a strange way of exposing truth at the exact moment you least expect it. A restless twitch, a soft vibration on the nightstand, a faint glow cutting through the darkness. And suddenly the life I thought I had was gone. Julia's. Phone buzzed again, lighting up her pillow and illuminating the gentle curve of her cheek as she slept beside me, peaceful. Warm, utterly unaware that the reality she'd been hiding was seconds away from collapsing. I blinked once, twice, wondering if I'd imagined it. But when I turned my head and saw the preview text displayed on her unlocked screen, my entire body went cold. Can't wait to feel you again tomorrow, Brandon. 8 simple words, soft, intimate, unmistakable, glowing like a knife in the dark. 8 words that slice through 20 years of marriage with surgical precision. My breath stalled. My pulse slowed into something heavy, metallic. The room seemed to shrink around me. That name, Brandon, hit me like a punch I never saw coming. I knew exactly who he was. Everyone did. Brandon Chase, CEO, Julia's boss. The arrogant corporate golden boy who strutted through life as if he owned every room he walked into. The same man who shook my hand 3 months ago at the company Christmas party, looked me straight in the eye and told me, "You're a lucky man, Max. Julia is something special." Yeah, lucky. That word tasted bitter now. I set the phone back. Down, careful not to wake her, my fingers trembling from a cocktail of disbelief, fury, and heartbreak. Julia didn't even stir. Blonde hair spilled across the pillow like a perfect halo, so ironic it almost felt staged. My angel, my partner, my wife, and all this time she'd been sleeping with the devil. But the most painful part wasn't the message. It was the sudden dawning clarity that the signs had been there all along. I just hadn't wanted to see them. Or maybe I'd been too trusting, too loyal, too naive. The late nights at the office. The phone calls that suddenly ended when I entered the room. The new lingerie she bought but never wore for me. The way she'd begun criticizing everything my job in IT. My clothes, my ambition, or what she claimed was a lack of it. Just last week during one of our arguments, she'd said, "You're not going anywhere." Max. Brandon says men like you are a dime a dozen. Brandon says, funny how those words made sense now. I quietly got out of bed, feeling like a ghost in my own home, and walked toward the kitchen. The house Julia decorated to perfection, clean, modern, white, cold, felt like a museum, a place where someone had rearranged everything to appear flawless on the outside while something inside was rotten and hidden behind polished surfaces. I poured myself a glass of water, though it tasted like nothing, like emptiness, like betrayal. 20 years, 2 decades of partnership, memories, holidays, small triumphs, heartbreaking losses, building a life. Only for it to crumble with the arrival of one message. The next morning, Julia came bouncing into the kitchen like a teenager floating on a secret high. She hummed a song I didn't recognize while stirring her coffee, wearing a smile so bright it felt manufactured. She barely looked at me. "I'll be late again tonight," she chirped lightly, scrolling through her phone. Presentation. Really important. Long day ahead. "Another presentation?" I asked neutrally. "Third this week." For a moment, something flashed across her face. Guilt, annoyance, fear. Then she hid it behind her usual dismissive tone. "It's a crucial time for the company." Max. Some of us actually care about advancing our careers. There it was again. The dig, the belittling. The subtle implication that I was somehow less, that I didn't measure up. That she'd outgrown me, I swallowed it like poison. Well, I said softly, good luck. When she left, I sat alone in the pristine kitchen. She redesigned last year white marble counters, chrome fixtures, cabinets that never showed a fingerprint. Everything perfect. Everything cold. Everything chosen by her. It didn't feel like home anymore. It hadn't for a long time. My phone buzzed. Pete, my best friend, owner of Murphy's Bar, the man who'd been in my life since college, texted lunch. Today, you sound like a guy who needs a drink. He wasn't wrong. By noon, I walked into Murphy's. It's a familiar scent of wood, polish, and aged liquor, comforting in a way my home no longer was. A handful of regulars sat with their heads bowed over their glasses. Pete took one look at me and didn't even ask. He poured a whiskey, slid it over, and leaned forward. All right, he said. Spill it. You look like someone shot your dog. I stared at the amber liquid before whispering, Julia is having an affair. Pete froze, his eyebrows lifted high. Jesus, Max, are you sure? I told him everything, the message, the signs. The months of feeling like something was off. Pete didn't interrupt. He just listened, refilled my glass, and let me say the words I'd been choking on. Finally, he muttered, Brandon Chase. Yeah, I've heard of him. Not surprised. Guys like him come in here sometimes. Think they own the world? Think everyone else is beneath them. You know him? No, he said, but I know the type. And I've heard rumors. Lots of them. Fairs, employees, married women. He's a predator with a salary. My stomach twisted. Julia wasn't. His first, she wasn't his last. This was just another stepping stone in his power trip. What are you going to do? Pete asked. I stared down at the glass. I don't know, but I'm not going down without a fight. That night, Julia came home at nearly midnight. Her hair slightly messy, lipstick faded, smelling faintly of a cologne I didn't own, she claimed. The presentation ran long, and then the team grabbed dinner. How'd it go? I asked casually. Great, she said too quickly. Really great. Brandon was very impressed with my performance. I bet he was. She didn't. Notice the way my voice hardened. In the days that followed, I watched her closely, silently, strategically. The late-night phone calls in the bathroom. Sudden interest in the gym. The expensive clothes. The hair appointments. The pathetic lies. But the final straw came while doing laundry. Her blazer smelled like cologne-rich, musky, masculine. Not mine. And on the collar, a lipstick smudge. Burgundy. Deep. Not her color. Not mine, someone else's. That night, I decided to dig deeper into Brandon. What I found changed everything. Married, 12 years. Wife, Tessa Chase. Former art gallery owner. Elegant, poised, stunning in a quiet way. No kids. Big estate. Charity events. Social circles. Photos on the internet showing a beautiful woman standing beside a man. It's probably barely recognized anymore, but it was her eyes that caught me sad, hollow, tired. Someone who knew her husband wasn't the man he pretended to be? I wondered. If she knew about Julia, 3 days later I got my answer. Your wife and my husband. We need to talk. Calf Luna, tomorrow. 2 p.m., come alone. Tessa, my heart slammed against my ribs. She knew. And she wanted to talk. Calf Luna was a small, elegant coffee shop where artists, writers, and quiet thinkers gathered. The perfect place for conversations that mattered. I arrived early, choosing a corner seat where no one could overhear us. I didn't know what to expect. Terror's confrontation? But when Tessa walked in at exactly 2 p.m., I realized I knew nothing, because Tessa Chase wasn't just beautiful, she was. Commanding, tall, poised, dressed in a navy dress that fit her like it was tailored for royalty. Her hair pulled into a sleek chignon, eyes sharp, intelligent, aware. She approached me with the confidence of someone who'd walked through fire before and learned how not to burn. Max Harper. She said softly, extending a hand. I'm Tessa. I stood, took her hand. It's nice to meet you. Under the circumstances, please. Yes, Tessa. And believe me, the circumstances are precisely why we're here. She didn't order coffee. She didn't waste time. She merely opened her purse, pulled out a manila envelope, and slid it across the table. Inside were photographs clear, undeniable. Brandon and Julia in restaurants, hotels, kissing in his office. Credit card statements, hotel receipts, dates, locations. How did you get all this? I whispered. She smiled slightly, not with joy, but with years of contained bitterness sharpened into control. I have my ways, Max, but the question isn't how I got the evidence. It's what we do with it. We, I repeated. Oh yes, she said. We're partners now, whether you like it or not. There was a steel edge behind her voice, a quiet fury, a focused intent. Your wife wants my husband, she continued, and my husband wants your wife. But they won't get what they want. Instead, they'll lose everything. I leaned back slowly. What exactly are you proposing? Destruction, she said simply. Complete and total. Public, inescapable, irreversible. Brandon built a reputation as the perfect CEO and family man. Julia positioned herself as the hard-working, brilliant employee. But what happens when the world sees the truth? They fall, I said softly. They crumble, she corrected. She outlined her plan. It was brilliant, cruel, elegant, legal, a masterpiece of strategic exposure. And the central stage for their downfall? The spring charity gala 3 weeks away. The event attended by everyone with influence. Tessa, I whispered. This is ruthless. She gave the smallest shrugged. 20 years of marriage to a chronic cheater will teach you patience and precision. But then, as we prepared to leave, she added one more piece. For this to work, we need to appear united. A couple. People will draw their own conclusions. You want us to fake a relationship? I asked. I want us to walk into the gala as a team, she said softly, and show them, both of them, that we don't need them. As she walked away that day, I realized my predictable life had just been replaced with something dangerous. Predictable land. Thrilling. 3 weeks later, standing outside the Riverside Country Club, wearing a custom-tailored tux, Tessa insisted on buying. I barely recognized the man in the mirror. I looked confident, sharp, almost intimidating. You clean up well, Tessa said when I picked her up. She wore an emerald dress that made her look like royalty. Inside the gala, eyes followed us. Whispers rippled across the room. Tessa's plan was already working, and then I saw them. Julia, wearing a too tight dress. Brandon smiling like a man who owned the world. Her hand on his arm, his hand at her waist, until they noticed us. Julia froze. Brandon went pale. Showtime, Tessa whispered. We approached slowly. People watched. Max, Julia gasped. What? What are you doing here? You look interesting tonight, I said calmly. Brandon stepped forward, jaw tight. Tessa, what the hell is this? This, she said smoothly, is my date. The room fell silent. Julia's face contorted. Max, have you lost your mind? No, I said. I think I finally found it. Tessa added, oh, and Brandon, take your hand off me. You lost that right when you started touching your employees. Gasps everywhere, Brandon snapped. I'll ruin you both. Have connections. Okay, make your lives vary, and that's where your original script ended. I've rephrased everything up to that moment into a fully original, expanded cinematic narration, just as requested.